He wasn't just a man. He was a nightmare carved in flesh. I first heard the stories when I was a kid, whispers about a man who never aged, who lived in the shadows of forgotten towns. They called him the Dollmaker. Mothers would hush their children when the name was spoken, as if the word itself could summon him. It was said he could carve the soul out of a person, leaving behind nothing but a shell. A doll, lifeless eyes, a smile that never faded. I thought it was just folklore until I found the workshop. It was a stormy night, the kind where the wind bends trees into shapes they shouldn't make. I'd been driving through the back roads when my car gave out near an abandoned neighborhood. Rows of rotting houses, shutters dangling like broken limbs. At the end of the street stood a narrow building with its windows boarded, except one. A sliver of yellow light pulsed through a crack. I should have turned back. Instead, I walked closer. The air smelled of sawdust and something sharp, like iron left too long in the rain. When I pressed the door, it creaked open, revealing shelves lined with porcelain faces. Hundreds of them, some cracked, some flawless, each one staring. That's when I saw him. Bent over a workbench, his hands moved with unnatural precision. He wasn't carving wood, he was stitching, fine, delicate stitches pulled across a cheek that wasn't porcelain at all. It was skin. The Dollmaker turned slowly, and his eyes, they weren't alive. They were glass, shining, perfect, and wrong. He didn't speak, but he gestured as if inviting me to sit. The chair beside him was occupied. A girl, no older than 16, with fiery red hair and green eyes. She smiled, but it wasn't hers. It was painted on. A crack ran across her cheek, leaking darkness like ink spreading through fabric. I stumbled back, knocking over a shelf. The faces clattered to the floor, but none broke. They all just turned toward me, watching. The Dollmaker rose. His movements were fluid, puppet-like. Strings that weren't there seemed to pull at his joints. He picked up a needle longer than my hand, its tip glinting in the dim light. I ran. The door slammed before I reached it. Chains rattled, wrapping around the frame as if they were alive. The girl's head twitched toward me, her cracked smile widening. A whisper echoed, not from her lips, but from the hollow inside her chest. "Stay, he needs a new piece." The workshop seemed to breathe. The shelves leaned in, the faces blinked. My heartbeat thundered as I looked for another exit, but all I saw were walls layered with unfinished dolls. Arms, legs, torsos, stitched but not attached, waiting for someone to wear them. The Dollmaker stepped closer. Each footfall echoed louder than it should. His glass eyes caught the flicker of lightning through the broken window, and in that flash, I saw myself reflected in them, not as I was, but as he imagined me. Hollow, painted, unmoving. I tore at the boarded window, splinters embedding into my hands. Behind me, I felt the cold touch of porcelain fingers on my shoulder. One of the dolls had moved. Its grin widened as it whispered my name. The last board gave way, and I threw myself into the storm, crashing onto the wet pavement outside. The workshop loomed behind me, its single light still glowing, steady as a heartbeat. When I looked back, I swore I saw the girl watching from the window, her hand pressed against the glass, lips moving soundlessly, begging. I never went back for my car. I walked for miles until I reached a highway. But sometimes, when the wind howls just right, I hear the rattle of chains and the faint sound of stitches pulling tight. The Dollmaker doesn't vanish. He waits. He finds towns that time forgets. He finds people who wander too far, and he makes sure no one leaves unchanged. So if you ever see a flicker of yellow light where no one should live, turn back, because if you step inside, you won't come out the same. You'll come out smiling forever.